What's up, guys? Welcome back to Woodstocks. While I was working on doing the driver's side B pillar, I was going to have Danielle strip back some more of the body harness for getting ready to do the wire tuck once I finish up the B pillar. But I'm going to change up that plan just a little bit. I'm still going to have Danielle working on some wiring, but last week we picked something up for the project. We came across a deal that we just really couldn't pass up on. So last week we picked up a whole entire complete H22 swap. That's going to be going into the project car. She was going to get originally my old H22 from the coupe. I was just going to throw a new camshaft in it and a timing belt and reseal the thing, but we got a real good deal on this thing that we just really couldn't pass up on, and it's got extremely low miles. That's one of the reasons why we actually, not only because of the price that we were offered for it, but it has extremely low miles. I was able to test run and drive it before we pulled it out of the vehicle that it was sold out of. It is a 98 Prelude H22 A4 swap, but we got the whole entire thing, the whole complete thing. We got the alternator. Even though we're probably not going to be able to use it, we still got the AC compressor. We got the whole auto tranny with it, but we're not going to be doing anything with that tranny. It just came with it. What else? It also came with the distributor and the whole wire harness. It came with everything that we're going to need, to have a good running driving motor. But however, the plan that we're going to go with on this is we're going to try to use everything off of this motor in the Project CB to function in our vehicle using our harness. So we're going to have to do some wiring of the distributor, because the distributor on this is different. It no longer has a crank sensor and a top dead center sensor. Those are located actually up in the timing cover up on the crank. So we're going to end up having to wire those up through where our distributor is, and we may need to wire up the alternator plug here, because this isn't a round style alternator plug like the CBs use. But yeah, we got everything here that we needed. It's only got 106,000 miles on it, 100% complete. We're going to use everything we can off of this. So while I'm working on doing the B pillar on the CB over there, I'm going to have Danielle strip this harness off. And we've got the engine harness inside from the CB. And we're going to strip both of those harnesses completely bare. And we're going to end up starting off with having her do the wire tuck on the engine first. So we're going to end up needing to get this whole harness off the motor. We're going to have to strip all the wire loom off of everything, get everything separated, because for the tuck process, we're going to end up locating our engine plugs to somewhere back here up under the intake manifold area, so that way we can run our body harness side across the firewall and then back up and sneak it up over the cross member. Will be sitting right here, and we'll end up having the engine plug in just right here under the intake on top of the cross member, nice and hidden from everybody's sight. So I'm going to have to get Kyle's Integra moved out of there, hook up the trailer, get this thing backed up over to the work area, pull out the cherry picker, get this thing out, and she can get started on working on the harness while I start grinding down a billion tack welds and B-pillar on the project. Looks like Robbie got a little bit bored. He ended up coming out here, helping me get this engine out of the trailer. I was an idiot, and I was standing in the back of the trailer, and I tipped the damn thing over and almost smashed myself with this engine. And Robbie helped save the day and helped me get this thing back out and on the ground. And it looks like he's a little bit gung-ho, and it looks like he's going to strip this wire harness off this engine instead of, like I was telling you, I was going to make Danielle do that.
Dude, she's passed out on the couch, dude.
Is she? She's asleep now? When she wakes up, I'm going to make her come out here and work on this thing, though. Like, swear to God. Get this thing stripped down and work on the next step, guys. So somebody's ears must have been ringing because once me and Robbie finished getting this tranny separated from the motor, voila, she has awakened from the dungeon, and now she's
I have risen. I have risen.
And she's now stripping down the harness. When I get all this stuff picked up, we're going to put the engine on a roller pallet. I'll be working a little bit on the pillar. And as she's getting this all stripped down, I'm going to start labeling, some of our plugs on here. Because the Prelude harness, a lot of these plugs and the wiring looks like it's in a lot better condition than the Accord one. So we're going to mark up the ones that we're going to use. That way I don't forget what's what. Alright, Danielle got the Prelude engine harness all stripped out for us. I got a lot of the plugs that we're going to be needing to use labeled up, like the injectors here. Some of them I just wrote directly on the plugs, like our map sensor plug. And while she was doing that, as you guys seen, I gave the engine just a quick little bath because we're going to be working on the wiring. And I don't want to work on doing the wiring with a nasty, disgusting motor. Get grease all over our hands and all over our nice, clean, new harness. So this is all nice and cleaned up. We got the one harness right here. I'll show you guys the harness inside that came off the CB. And what we're going to end up doing is we're going to end up using the crank sensors from here and running them to what would be our distributor plug, and we're going to also wire up the throttle body map sensor, and I forget off the top of my head, but there was one other thing that we're going to be rewiring for this thing. And I'm contemplating on doing a few different things with the harness. Oh yeah, the fuel injectors, that's right. I was contemplating possibly, because this is OBD2, few things. I'm contemplating with this tuck harness that I may make the OBD2 pigtail a complete separate removable pigtail, and then make a separate OBD1 pigtail that could be interchangeable off of this harness to this one, just in case for whatever reason our OBD2 injectors fail and we only have a set of OBD1 injectors to throw in there. We could just quickly swap out the injectors and just quickly unplug and run a whole another little pigtail of the harness. And I'm also thinking about doing the same thing with the distributor for the just in case that the distributor fails and we can't just quickly rebuild the distributor, to just throw like another OBD1 external distributor on there real quick. Just make a quick little disconnect, plug to bypass the crank sensors over there and just plug up a complete OBD1 distributor. I don't know, what do you guys think about that? Should I make some interchangeable pieces of the harness for a future purpose in case we need to run some OBD1 stuff on this for emergencies, or should we just call it good and wire this whole thing up OBD2 and cross our fingers, and anything that fails in the future just have to replace that part, you know, with OBD2 components? Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. We got the motor on the stand here. That harness is stripped out. I'm going to go inside and show you guys the harness inside that we're going to be working with to make between the two harnesses, make those both one harness for our one engine to plug into the OBD1 cb7. And here's our engine harness that matches the body harness that we are throwing into our vehicle. This one's already all stripped out, ready for us to start doing what we're going to need to do. I have everything labeled up on this harness as well, and you can see that there are multiple plugs that I'm not happy with the condition of them, so those are going to be replaced with a lot of the plugs that are on the Prelude harness, because a lot of those plugs are in way better condition. So, oh yeah, one thing I wanted to mention about our CB harness is the speed sensor. Initially, when you get the harness opened up, our speed sensor itself, it's its own complete pigtail that runs from the speed sensor all the way across to the driver's side of the car. And because this is a automatic harness, there's also, you know, these additional 2 wires that we're running, you know, to one of the plugs that run to the back of the automatic tranny. So while we're doing this tuck initially, we're going to just depin these 2 blue wires out of this plug to recreate initially the 5-speed portion of the speed sensor part of the harness. And I actually kind of don't mind using an automatic harness for the engine when we're doing the VTEC swaps, and well, yeah, for the VTEC and the manual swaps, because I just end up using what was, you know, the different transmission plugs for the automatic tranny. I just end up using those wires that run up into the factory harness plugs and all the way to the transmission computer. I just end up using those as my wiring to run for all my VTEC and NOx sensors and whatever else we need to additionally wire into the reverse lights when we do the 5-speed swap. You know, we can use one for the reverse light, you know, 2 for the VTEC, you know, and another 2 for the NOx sensor and intake air butterflies. So, and run it through the factory plug without having to drill any holes and run a whole separate harness, you know, from point A to point B. It just makes it a lot cleaner. So now we can just take our 2 engine harnesses and make our 1 harness out of the 2. And as far as the distributor rewiring and the map sensor rewiring, I spent the last few nights back and forth between the distributor and the sensors and some books, and I was able to make myself my own little chart here to wire up the cb7 distributor plug to the 5th gen Prelude engine distributor plugs, and the part that I'm going to have to wire in for the crank sensors, and got the chart made for the map sensor conversion to run from the cb7. I noted the engine plug side, and this is also the colors coming directly off of the sensor itself, and this is going to be what we're going to match it up for the 5th gen Prelude map sensor plug that we're going to be running with this engine swap. I've got all of the plugs separated, labeled, and cut out as much as I can get out of the Prelude harness. All that's left over out of that thing is all the junk from the automatic tranny garbage, some of the distributor stuff that we're not going to need to use, and also the starter wire and alternator wire that we're not going to need for this also, because we're going to be running some bigger power wires for the starter and for the alternator. And then a few additional plugs and pigtails left over that aren't initially part of the main things that I'm going to need for our wire tuck, because of the cb7 harness has a lot of this stuff in it too already. But anything extra that I may end up needing to use, I've got sitting aside right here too. And engines out here ready for us to get started on that. It's a good start for our engine tuck process, but I think I'm going to end up making this engine harness tuck a two-part video, because it's already getting late and I really need to get to working on the B pillar on the driver's side, because that's going to take me quite a while. But I've got everything sitting here ready to go. I also have my my own charts for making the for converting all the distributor wiring and all that stuff. And yeah, and don't forget to leave a comment below about whether you think I should make a removable OBD1 and OBD2 pigtails for the distributor and for the fuel injectors. So I think that's gonna wrap it up for tonight. Thank you guys for watching. Again, like always, the YouTube stuff, thank you for sharing. Thank you for your comments. Can't wait to hear your guys' feedback on the on what's going on with this project. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button. I'm Zach. This is Woodstocks. Until next time, peace out.